You know that feeling, right? When you're part of a team that's just bursting with brilliant ideas, but there's no clear path to actually make any of them happen. It's chaos. So what if there was a roadmap to turn all that creative energy into real, tangible success? Today, we are diving into exactly that. It's called the SNS Roadmap, and it's a fascinating five-stage journey that shows how one community went from a bunch of disorganized dreamers to an absolute powerhouse of innovation. All right, so here's the game plan for our journey. We're going to break it down into 5 key stages. First, we'll get a feel for that initial chaos. Then, we'll see how they laid a solid foundation for real change. After that, we'll explore how they built a strong culture, how that culture then fueled some amazing growth and innovation, and finally, how they aimed for the stars with a relentless pursuit of excellence. So, I want you to picture this. A town just buzzing with creativity, ambition, and passion. The potential was just off the charts. But so was the disorganization. Awesome ideas were getting lost in the noise, and nothing was really moving forward. That's where our story kicks off, in a community that was right on the edge of a breakthrough but was totally stuck. Everyone in the town knew that something had to give. This brings us to that first, absolutely critical step, laying the foundation for a whole new way forward. This was about carving a path that would lead them out of the chaos and into a future they could actually build themselves. Look, what they were doing just wasn't cutting it anymore. The old, standard ways of doing things were just leading to slow, uninspired progress, and frankly, people were getting fed up. It was time for a complete, radical shift in their thinking. And then, they had a breakthrough. The community stumbled upon something called design thinking. This is a problem-solving approach that puts people, actual humans, right at the center of everything. So instead of just sticking to old, dusty methods, they started focusing on empathy, on creativity, and on experimentation. This was the spark. This was what lit a whole new fire of hope and possibility. Okay, so with this fresh new mindset in place, the community was ready for the next big step. Building a really strong, unified culture. Because let's be honest, a great idea is just the beginning. It's a shared identity that actually makes it last. They built their culture on 3 super important pillars: purpose, process, and people. Purpose gave them that shared vision, that why that everyone could get behind. Process gave them a common way of working together effectively. And people, of course, emphasized just how crucial collaboration and supporting each other was. This 3P culture really became the glue that held the whole community together. Now, to actually bring this culture to life, they used something called the 3C framework. This stood for cohesion, communication, and collaboration. Think of it as a practical guide for getting everyone's attitudes, their logic, and their techniques all pointing in the same direction. It was all about making sure the entire community was moving as one. And get this wasn't just a work culture. It was a life culture. The community's 5 pillars, learning, upskilling, innovation, network building, and even health and hobbies, showed this deep commitment to both professional growth and personal well-being. They really got it. A thriving community is made up of thriving people. And here's where it gets really cool. They had this thing called the Spine program. You can think of it as the literal backbone of the community's culture. It connected 18 different clubs, all dedicated to things like health, hobbies, and sports. This wasn't just about having fun. No, it was a deliberate strategy to build a healthier, more connected, and way more resilient community. So, with this incredibly strong culture now in place, the community was ready to unleash its full potential. This is where the real magic starts to happen, turning that shared identity into a powerful engine for growth and innovation. Innovation wasn't something they just hoped for. They engineered it. The community developed what they called the 7+7 formula, which was a systematic way to generate, test, and scale new ideas. Now, the details are a little complex, but the main takeaway here is that they had a structured, repeatable way to actually create the future they wanted. And this wasn't happening in some isolated lab. Oh no. The 7+7 formula was rolled out across 15 different industry-focused clubs. This created this amazing, decentralized network of innovation. It meant that new ideas were constantly bubbling up from every single corner of the community, and that led to a massive speed up in progress. The community also totally embraced the power of technology. They used generative AI as a tool to amplify their creative potential. And this is key. It wasn't about replacing people with machines. It was about using AI to learn faster, to streamline projects, and to find new solutions to old problems quicker than anyone ever thought was possible. This brings us to the final, most ambitious stage of their roadmap, the pursuit of excellence. And this is about more than just coming up with cool ideas. It's about building a lasting legacy of success. Their approach to excellence was anything but vague. They used smart OKRs to set crystal clear goals. They even used gamification to make tracking their progress fun and engaging. But most importantly, they understood that excellence isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a continuous journey of always getting better. So, what was the ultimate goal of all this hard work? It was a 10-year moonshot to create and nurture 1,000 AI-driven startups. This incredibly audacious goal became their North Star, guiding all of their efforts and focusing all that energy and innovation on one single transformative mission. 1,000 startups? How could they even possibly think of achieving such a massive goal? Well, they did it by combining the human-centered approach of design thinking with the incredible scalable power of AI. You could say design thinking provided the how, and the AI provided the power to actually make it happen. This quote from one of the community elders just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that powerful synergy between human-centered design and artificial intelligence. That's what turned what seemed like an impossible dream into a mission that was actually achievable. So, from total chaos to creation, the SNS roadmap is just a powerful testament to what can happen with a clear vision, a strong culture, and that relentless pursuit of excellence. And it leaves us with a pretty big question. What chaos in your world is just waiting for a roadmap?